Hello and good morning to all present here. First of all, I would love to welcome Mr. President of Renova, President Roberto Leco, and Mr. President of Sharasia, President Trumpet. I would love to express my gratitude and thankfulness for both presidents for spending their times for today's mediation. Our agenda for today's mediation is to settle the dispute between these two states, Ranaval and Sharasia. Before further ado, let us introduce ourselves first. We are the representative from United Nations Security Council. We are here to listen to both statements of arguments by both parties as well as to give opinion and recommendation in settling this dispute. Without further ado, I would love to welcome Mr. President of Sharasia to give his statements of arguments for this dispute. President Trumpet, the floor is yours.
Thank you to fellow participants for your time today. I would like to express my gratitude for your presence here. I hope everyone in this room has been doing well. I am now Nitran Piswaji, and I have a few more requests and arguments against the government of Toronto. To Mr. Trumpet and our mediators, as the representative of Sarasha, I would like to discuss about a decision that taken by a Navy of Toronto which has created a dispute among this government. Moving forward, based on unfortunate event that happened, which is collision of between HMS Partiu and Ronald's naval mine, I requested representative Ronald to explain clearly on why did the Navy of Ronald did such an inhuman act. This has caused tremendous loss to Sharjah government, estimated at USD dollar 25 million. For first of all, um, the HMS Patriot has not broken any rules under law of the sea. It was in the area of IC. The Ronald has no rights to dissolve the ship and it has full freedom of navigation. As a redemption, I demand Ronald to take the responsibility over the lost ship and lives of the sailors and military personnel. Government of Ronald is being requested to compensate an amount for the family members of the lost crew members of HMS Patil. This reparation will be very helpful to the family members in terms of financial issues.
Thank you for your statement, President Trumpet. And now we will move on to statements of arguments for the dispute by Mr. President of Ranaval. President Roberto Leco, the floor is yours.
So before we go through, I would like to express my massive thanks to all our participants in our meeting today, to Mr. Trumpet and to our mediators for spare some of your precious time to participate in our meeting today. I'm aware that each of you are very important and busy persons, so you guys have a very limited time to spend. My name is Roberto Lecor, and I hope that each of you have a very good evening as I'm having my best here. So based on the collision that happened between the HMS Patuyu naval ship with our naval mines, I would like to point out some of important points and make some arguments to the request made by the Sharasia. Okay, first I would like to remind Sharasia that we clearly have given our warnings to them way before the HMS Patuyu started their journey to the Arctic region, but they just ignore our warnings and continue with their plan to the Arctic region, and that leads to the collision and loss of the ship and its crew's member. For me, the request made by the government of Sharasia for the loss of ship and also for the compensation for the families of the sailors and military personnel who died in the event are totally not acceptable because it is not our fault for the collision happen, and I think it is not our responsible to compensate for their loss, especially the compensation for the families, because as I mentioned before, we have given our warnings to them, they uh, but they did not pay any attention to any of our warnings. Um, not to not to mention about the warnings made by you, Mr. Trumpet, that you said that you will launch a military attack against my territory. I mean, Mr. Trumpet, you aware and know that our country is not part with yours. So why need the hassle by launching military attacks to this corrupted country? It will lose your money and energy.
Thank you for your statement of argument of President Roberto Leco. After hearing statements of argument from both parties, let me do a brief summary on these dispute matters. Summary of the incident. On 23 November 2019, naval ship from Sharasia named H.M.S. Patuyu on its voyage to the Arctic region collided with one of naval mines belonging to the Navy of Renaval. H.M.S. Patuyu severely damaged and sank into the sea. Specific location occurred was at the Barents Sea near Kola Peninsula near to Renaval. Government of Sharasia demanded full responsibility from Renaval. President Trumpet of Sharasia warned that he would launch a military attack against Renaval's territory if President Roberto did not respond to his request for compensation of the lost ship. President Trumpet also asked for reparation to the families of the sailors and military personnel who died in the event. Within 24 hours of the incident, Sharasia's Ministry of Foreign Affairs delivered a note verbal to Renaval's embassy in Mexico City. Mexico City is the neighbor of Sharasia. Sharasia and Renaval did not have any diplomatic relations. Note verbal by Sharasia. Naval ship was on the areas of the high seas. Based on the rules of law of the sea, it has freedom of navigation and Renaval should not interfere. It also has the right to innocent passage under international law. Note verbal by Renaval. The ship had encroached into its territorial water. National Coast Guard had warned the ship. HMS Patuyu failed to move and chose to stay. National Coast Guard decided to plant a dozen of naval mines to safeguard the area from further intrusion by naval ship. Upon leaving the area, the ship collided with one of the naval mines. The conflicts. Few days later, the dispute between Sharasia and Renaval had escalated to full-blown international conflict. President Trumpet of Sharasia ordered 3 nuclear-powered submarines and 4 aircraft carriers to the Barents Sea. As the response to the President Trumpet actions, President Roberto of Renaval feared the safety of his nation, so he called the Russian President Mr. Putin, asked for military assistance. That's all from me. I will pass it to my partner on the opinion and recommendations for this dispute settlement between Sharasia and Renaval.
Good evening to all the participants. First of all, a very big applause to the parties Renaval and Sharasia for being honored to settle the conflicts with peace. I am the representative for Mexico as a mediator today. What had been stated earlier, the conflict happened because of the specific causes. based on the summary of the conflict by United Nations representative and also from the both representative of Sharasia and Renewal, the standard have been made. First, Sharasia should take back their preparation for war and also reverse their nuclear weapon for the safety and security for the both countries, Renewal and Sharasia. If Sharasia still make the same decisions on going the war, Sharasia will face other conflicts with UN and countries that disagree with the nuclear weapon. Furthermore, all the preparation for war will be burden and require high costs to the Sharasia. With the modern systematic of the administration, decision for starting war no longer relevant. We can refer to the all countries that starting for war, having a bad reputation such as Thailand and South Thai. Until now, they still sacrificing many people. For Sharasia, starting a war is a very costly and will give defect to the both sides involved. And for Renewal, there is a peaceful way in negotiations. Put the mines in the territorial water is a very good decision for security. But we should remember that without neighbor countries, we are nothing. We are relying for each other. In international relations, the balancing of power is a very important thing. Put the mines in the waters that passes by innocent passage was not really a good idea. If your side still standing with your firm, the responsible legal body will take over. We all know about the law of the sea, and we all know what all the territorial states are supposed to do in protect and secure their own territorial waters, but there is a limit. So the suggestions are about Sharasia retreat from attacking Renewal with their nuclear weapon and take back all the preparation for war, as Renewal will pay the half of compensations for negligence in putting the mines, but not in covering the ship and all that been requested by Sharasia. If both parties agreed, the peace will be remain soon, as usual. The response from the both sides, the representative of Renewal and also the representative of Sharasia, will be made as an agreement. If the both countries agree, we will achieve the peaceful ways of settle the conflicts.
I will openly accept this advice given by the mediators. I believe that these are the best methods to settle this dispute among Sarasha and Renewal. I hope that Renewal will take a good decision and consider the demands listed by Sarasha. Thank you.
As my country and Sharasia have no any diplomatic relations, I think we can say that the advices given by the mediators are the good methods to settle our dispute. So I will gladly accept the advices and hoping for the best result from the Sharasia side. Thank you.